going on, everybody, and welcome back to the 515 Sports Podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Berman alongside, as always, with my boy Chase Winterbohr. We're off a couple weeks for the holidays. Crazy schedules going on. Chase, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I know, it's been a little bit here. A lot's been going on probably since we last chatted. But yeah, excited. Got our first Saturday of college basketball here with conference play. So, it's that time of year. So I'm very pumped. Obviously, going to the Columbia game later, but get home and just sit on the couch the rest of the day and watch some good ball. So,
and I promised Chase before we went live that we would talk actual college basketball for the first time. I think the last couple episodes I said that we would touch on it, and then by the time we do, it'd be 5 minutes worth of college basketball.
Yeah.
We'll hit on college basketball for sure, as well as a little bit of college football. I know Chase isn't too invested into college football as much anymore. He's definitely locked in, or at least from our conversations off the podcast, you make it sound like you're fully locked into college basketball.
Yeah. You might have to carry football. I've watched spurts of games, some of these playoff games, but yeah, you might have to carry Brock.
Well, I mean, you obviously probably watched the greatest postseason game in college football history, right?
Should I know what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the greatest bowl game, greatest invention of all time, the Pop-Tarts
Bowl.
I'm assuming you watched that, right? You didn't completely.
Yes, I did watch the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Okay, I was a little nervous. It's like, you didn't watch Iowa State play in the bowl?
No, we watched the Pop-Tart Bowl. That was a heck of a game, dude. Best trophy in college football.
So, of course, the theatrics and the funness, if that's a word, of the Pop-Tart Bowl already was amazing in itself, and then you add an absolute shootout of a game between Iowa State and Miami. And I really, of course, you want to have it be competitive, both teams fully healthy, no opt-outs, all that stuff. But if there's a better second choice for a bowl game, this is exactly, I want a shootout. I want scores after score after score. I'm pretty sure the first quarter, I think, almost took an hour and a half by itself.
Dude, yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me, dude. It felt like the game went on forever there in the first quarter, and then obviously defense picked up a little bit in the second half. But yeah, that first half in general was just long. A lot of scoring.
It was crazy. And I had a family Christmas event that was scheduled for that night in Panora, and we were watching the game in Nadell. And my parents kept sending me texts. They're like, when are you guys going to be here? When are you guys going to be here? I was like, I finally sent them a text. I was like, I will leave the house once the Pop-Tart has been sacrificed. After that, I will head towards Panora.
Well, now I got to ask, what's your favorite Pop-Tart, though?
I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of boring. Are you talking about legit ones or the ones that were the
Just
choices?
Any Pop-Tart. What's your favorite flavor?
Either strawberry or brown sugar.
All right, there you go. Good answer.
I will say that they made the wrong choice of which Pop-Tart should have been sacrificed. Wild Berry was out here cheesing and clowning the entire game.
Wild Berry.
I think, just personal opinion, let the fans vote on the Pop-Tarts, just because they get to see what the Pop-Tarts are doing the entire game. And if you saw any highlights of those Pop-Tarts fooling around, Wild Berry was going crazy the entire time, sneaking up on officials. I think there was a pass that went out of bounds that someone caught, and he ran up and Wild Berry ran up and took the ball away. I was like, bro, I didn't see no cinnamon roll doing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody should take offense to this. I think Rocco said that Campbell's favorite Pop-Tart flavor or whatever was cinnamon roll, which is why they went with that one. And I'm not gonna lie, the design, the look of the cinnamon roll was probably the most boring one, which I mean checks out for a guy that loves wearing black and white, which
That's
again,
right, dude.
I'm all about wearing black and white. Red and black is pretty much all of my entire wardrobe. You know that. I'm pretty much either wearing red or I'm wearing black, maybe a little bit of white every once in a while. But I was like, of course, that's the one that Campbell wanted. He wanted the one that has no design or
design, no color,
just one straight shot.
That's right, neutral maybe.
Also, I was surprised that they got him to participate in the whole sacrificing of the Pop-Tart.
Oh, I know. It looked like he was having a great time out there, man. I loved his post-game interview too. That was pretty sweet.
the basically saying that we're still a legit program versus
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yes. That was great. That was good to
Uh,
hear.
I love that he took one bite, threw it in the air, and then left. He was like, "Yep, I did my 2 seconds that I
Yeah.
need to do. We are good." This
Get
is
me out of
why
here.
I know that the Big 12 doesn't have a tie-in. I still want at some point for him to play in the Coach of Mayo Bowl victory because I want to see him
Yeah.
get dumped with mayo.
Dude, did I see our truth was like the guy like underneath like the Mayo costume?
Was it him?
Was it him or someone else?
Let me see.
The
Because I
May-
can't remember who it was.
I thought I
Um,
saw I was obviously going through my
oh, it
time.
was Flavor Flav.
It was who?
Flavor Flav.
Oh, I guess never mind. I don't know why. I thought I
He
saw
he
it.
was he was the guy that was prominent during the Olympics last year with Snoop Dogg.
Oh, okay. Sure, sure. Never mind then.
But no, what as I guess Iowa State fans, and from your perspective, what were your thoughts on this team? Is this Iowa State's greatest season of all time?
Mm,
Because we have that 2020 year that's kind of weird because it's weird talking about because it was so successful and it was a huge part of where Iowa State is today. But at the same time, the COVID restrictions, shortened season, all that stuff came into play. But at the same time, it's hard to debate when you're looking at records. And this team had 11 wins. Iowa State still hasn't had a 10-win season. They have 11 wins now. What were your thoughts on this season?
yeah. I don't know, man. I'm still like kind of like on cloud nine. Not really. It hasn't like hit me yet. I still don't feel like so. But yeah, obviously, I mean, 11-win football season. And we still got people out here trashing on it. So, that's how you know that you've officially made it, Brock. So, that's always a good sign. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels weird because like I don't know, I just remember the very first game, man. Like 5 minutes in, and Caleb Bacon gets injured like on a punt return or whatever it is, and it just feels like dang, the season's over. Like I don't know. I was just kind of like, this is not going to be a good season, and then I just keep finding ways to win and win, and like I don't know, man. It was just incredible. I mean, best start in school history. I get that we probably didn't play like as tough as teams as we did in 2020. However, though, I mean, I still feel like this offense. I know they probably won't have like the NFL guys that the 2020 team did, but like this offense, though, may have been the best that we've seen in a long time, maybe ever. I don't know. That may be a little bit of a exaggeration, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I think this team would have been even better if injuries weren't an issue this year.
for sure.
You talk about that offense being so good, and yet I feel like we had one of our most prominent targets not even in basically the entire season, and Ben Bramer. Like
Yeah.
that guy
Mhm.
opens up the offense, even if he's not getting the ball thrown to him, just having that
Yes.
tight end.
Mhm.
Which I mean, we had other guys step up. By the way, Steve O'Klotz needs to get like
Good.
some kind of an award for almost touchdowns, almost miraculous plays.
Yeah.
This dude, and I'm a big Rocco Beck guy. Everybody knows that. But like Rocco's put him in some weird spots where it's just like, bro, this
Yeah.
guy should have had a touchdown or should have made a huge play, and just
Mhm.
one thing went wrong. There was a couple plays against Kansas. I think there was one against Miami where Rocco like threw it right to him and another defender, and it could have been picked off really easily, but
Yeah.
Steve-O was able to hold on to it.
I
Steve
know, poor
O'Klotz,
guy.
like you need to just get like a workhorse award or something like that. Like
Yep.
Steve O'Klotz will always be like one of those guys for me when you talk about like random players that like probably should get more recognition than he actually will get, just
Sure.
because the little that he does stats wise, but the amount of big plays that he's at least contributed to or almost contributed to, obviously, because there were some missed plays throughout the season. But I wanted
Yeah.
to give a shout out to my boy Steve-O.
Yes. Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know. I feel like he was a huge part of the team, but just not obviously not a lot of people talk about him since he's not really scoring touchdowns. So, yeah, we love Steve-O. Get him. He's a senior, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we'll
And
miss him next year, but
obviously, you look at the game. The last thing I'll talk about this, and it's the only complaint that I had about the broadcast, because I thought the announcers are actually pretty fair, and it was a good broadcast for the
oh,
most part.
yeah,
Yeah, for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. My perspective, if I get that the big storyline was Cam Ward played the first half and didn't play the second half. He, in my opinion, did he quit? Yeah. Did Jaden Higgins quit? Yes. That's what opting out basically is. There's nothing wrong with doing that. However, if you're cutting to a shot of Cam Ward after every offensive play for an entire half, I think you're trying to milk this story a little too much, because Miami made it sound like that was the plan from the get-go, that he was going to play the first half and not play the second half.
Yeah.
So get over it. You can hint on it once, but you don't need to keep cutting over to him, because then it makes him look even worse. I don't really have an opinion whether or not I like that he played the first half just to get the record, or if he was playing the first half just to beat Case Keenum's record, which, by the way, the fact that Case Keenum had a college football record still blows my mind. But I don't know. That was the only thing about the whole thing that bugged me.
Yeah. I've just been annoyed with all the people who are saying, like, oh, if Cam Ward would play second half, they would have won by like 20, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. Same people probably didn't even watch the Miami-Syracuse game the week before, where Miami just blew a huge lead to Syracuse. Also, the same people don't realize that defenses make second half adjustments either, Brock. So, I would like to address that crowd as well. So,
yeah, I am in the same boat as you. By the way, there is a bowl game going on right now. We got the Bahamas Bowl. Buffalo is up 9-0 against Liberty.
Bahamas Bowl.
I know you were a big Buffalo fan a couple years ago, right? They had a good season. I think dude.
Buffalo was my team, kind of an NCAA 14 growing up. So I like them in Ohio out of the MAC for sure. So always love those two schools.
Just so we can hit on a couple more games in the bowl games, we're going to get over these real quickly so we can talk college basketball for my boy Chase. But
thanks, man.
Alabama, or not even Alabama, let's just label it the SEC outside of a few teams, proving why there's a lot more parity than they realize in the college football world. Alabama lost to Michigan. Illinois beats South Carolina. By the way, that was probably the second most entertaining bowl game of the year, with Bielema and Beamer going at it.
Yeah, what was the
sidelines? I don't remember what the reason was for Bielema's taunt or whatever.
Yeah,
he made like the timeout substitution like form that the ref.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
And Beamer absolutely lost it, and I don't know if that's what Bielema wanted, or it worked, because he sat there and smiled the entire time as Beamer was getting absolutely upset.
Yeah.
So you got those two teams. Texas is the only SEC team in the semifinals of the college football playoff, which may not have even happened if certain things would have went certain ways. What are your thoughts on the SEC kind of struggling? Obviously, Ole Miss destroyed Duke 52-20. Absolutely amazing performance from Jackson Dart, 404 yards, 4 touchdowns. I do think whoever picks him up, if you do a draft and stash kind of mindset, that Jackson Dart could be a really good NFL player. But what are your thoughts on the SEC struggling this year? And did you think that there was as much parity as it's showing this year? Or were you kind of on the SEC side? Did you think that they were kind of the almighty league that they thought they were?
No, Brock, come on, man. No, yeah. Obviously, I think a lot of people are enjoying it, man. I'll say that. Not just me and you. So, it's always nice to see, because you have a bunch of SEC lovers out there, aka ESPN. I need to keep it clean this morning. Yeah, just loving up the SEC is what I'll say. And apparently they only have Texas left, but I'm sure they're probably still going to find a way to say Texas is going to beat Ohio State. And I'm just going to go out and say Ohio State is going to cover against Texas. Hopefully we won't be coming back to this, but I don't know. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of like all the hypothetical stuff, like, SEC, if they played blah, 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 they would have won the conference, stuff like that. So I don't know. It just gets annoying, man. It's like, then why even like play these games? And like, I don't know. Yep. I've been saying that like ever since like that Florida State thing last year. It's like, why even play the game? So
it's one of those where it's like, if these hypotheticals are so true, what's the point of the season? Just do a tournament with just SEC teams and call it good.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, that's literally what happens every year. Like people are like, Alabama should have been in. Well, they can't beat
Nope.
Michigan without like Michigan's whole starting lineup playing. So yeah, I don't
I,
know.
and if people in the SEC territory want to do the hypothetical train, well, there's a hypothetical situation that there are no SEC teams in the semifinals of the college football playoff if a targeting call against Texas would have been called.
Yeah,
So here's my 2 cents. Obviously, I'm talking about the Texas Arizona State game, 2 overtime game, really enjoyable. We actually turned the game off. I'm not gonna lie.
you turn your TV off.
We turned it off when in the second quarter, third quarter. I can't even remember for sure. No, I think actually when Texas scored in the fourth quarter, we turned it off, assuming that it was pretty much over. And then Arizona State decided to come back, led by Cam Scadaboo, who probably should have been in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Everybody in the Big 12 knew about him beforehand. He just emphasized how great he was even more to the public this year, which is why I kind of think the Heisman Trophy needs to reconsider when votes should be tallied and everything, because smaller schools don't get the benefit of the doubt, as proven by who won the Heisman Trophy this year. But obviously, the controversial call of the no targeting that would have set up Arizona State to potentially get into field goal range. My 2 cents of this is, yeah, I get that Arizona State's field goal kicker is really bad. Yeah, I get that this was a big game and the repercussions of, well, if you call it targeting call, Texas still wins, that guy's out the first half next week. Or why would you just let a hit determine the game? Because that's what would have happened if Arizona State would have won by a field goal or whatever, that if targeting call ended up resulting in Texas losing. Well, the thing about that is if it's an actual call and it's a legitimate targeting, there should be no excuse.
Yeah,
You should call it. At the same time, Arizona State doesn't. That's not the only reason that Arizona State lost. Arizona State was in a 4th and 13 and sent a blitz
yeah,
against a Quinn Ewers can scramble a little bit, but I wouldn't consider him necessarily like how, you know what I mean, like a
yeah, yeah.
speedy,
No,
like
I know what you mean.
scrambling quarterback.
He's more of a pocket passer.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
you're expecting him to get 13 yards. Don't blitz. Come on, the secondary was getting destroyed by Texas for the majority of the first half, majority of the game, really.
Yeah,
So Arizona State's not getting this asterisk loss because they did their own issues that caused them to lose that game as well.
yeah, yeah. I would agree with that, Brock. I know kind of we already talked about it, but like even us who've never coached college football before would probably sit back in his zone there, just from playing NCAA 5.
Yeah.
So
If I'm playing NCAA 25, I am not sending a blitz on 4th and
no,
13 with the
no,
game
yeah,
on the
like
line.
especially like when you're in the red zone, dude. Like I don't know. I just never understand that. It's like, why are you trying to get pressure? Just drop back and like it's not like the receivers can like keep running down the field. Like you have to stop at some point. So I don't know. I just don't really I never understood that, but
I feel bad for Arizona State because I actually would love to see this team run it back with everybody to see if they could do it, like improve, similar to like Iowa State last year, where it's like, oh, we're running everybody back, we should be able to improve, and we did. I would love to see this
yeah.
Arizona State team do that. Unfortunately, Cam Scadaboo won't be able because he's a senior. 143 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Also had a 42-yard passing touchdown.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable game from him. I will say he didn't score a touchdown through the air, had an interception, but Sam Levitt has a bright future wherever. If I don't think he's transferring, I hope he stays
I
in
doubt it.
Arizona State
Yeah.
territory. That dude, like, was amazing in certain plays, in certain situations against Texas.
Yeah. I know. I'm not really I won't lie, I'm not a huge fan of him just running his mouth.
I
Before
get that. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that, but yeah, he's certainly a dang good player though. Kind of crazy that he's only a freshman. So yeah, it'll be obviously I think he might be I'll take a look at the rest of the Big 12, but he might be maybe like player of the year next year, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at the rest of the Big 12, but like, yeah,
Some of the
he's
plays that he was making, again, didn't
uh-huh.
score through the air, but like that 3rd and 14 where he had that 16-yard rush to get the first down in
Yeah.
overtime, that was like, holy crap. And by the way, whoever the offensive lineman that was in that suplexed Cam
Oh yeah.
Scadaboo, excuse me, in the end zone in that first
I did see
overtime
that.
deserves a little bit of NIL money if he hasn't gotten any, because that was
Suplex
impressive.
City.
But yeah, that was pretty much the biggest game of the college football playoff. Everybody else has been kind of stinky. Ohio State 41-21. I knew something was with that line. I knew something was up with that line.
Yeah.
Vegas knew something, and I I,
Yeah.
I saw that. I might have. I don't know. Did you see that, and where you were like, "That's fair," or were you kind of confused like me?
Yeah, I was a little confused too because like Tom and I were talking about that, and we're like, "How's the number one team in the country underdog?" So,
They
yeah,
knew
Vegas knew the
something.
whole time, man.
Are you sold that Will Howard can lead this team to a college football championship?
Dude, I was wrong, man. I would like to apologize. I think
I
I'm
knew
one
you
of
were
those.
one of the biggest
I
haters.
was a big hater. I think it's because he played for Kansas State. So I would like to formally apologize to Will Howard. I'm sorry, ma'am.
319 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. A
Yeah,
really good game
I would like to
for him.
apologize. Yes, yeah, he's been doing this. It also helps, man, when you have a lot better players around you compared to when you're at Kansas State too. So, yeah, I would like to apologize. Well, I'm not a Ryan Day guy by all means, but this team is just loaded galore. So,
That Michigan game they really took that personally, and right now they're
yeah,
playing their
that's what
best
they needed. Yep.
football all season long. Other playoff games, the run of Ashton Genty with Boise State has come to an end after they lose 31-14 against Penn State. I will say I feel like this game was a little more competitive than the scoreboard shows because Penn State had that late touchdown. It seemed like Boise State kept getting in position to score and then would like either turn it over or just not convert. They had a couple
Yep.
bad field goal kicks, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, their
But
kicker missed like 2 field goals.
I think they
Come on,
had one
bud.
early in the game too, and
Yeah, their first drive, and it wasn't even close.
I after watching Connor Sally in
Huh.
AT&T Stadium, anytime teams, especially small teams that don't play in those big stadiums often,
Mm,
play, I'm always hesitant with like a medium to long range kick from your kicker because it is a different experience. I mean, heck, when Iowa State
huh.
played Oklahoma in 2020, wasn't their kicker like 100% on the year and they missed 2?
Yeah, I think I want to say he missed like a 20-something yarder. I want to say, and everyone was
It's
like, "Huh?"
It's a different environment, similar to like playing in those big gym. You know what it's like playing in a high
Yeah,
school gym and then going
I'm
to
going to.
a
It's a
G
lot
League
different.
level gym and trying to shoot in that area.
Yeah,
It's a different feel.
it's
And
completely
so,
different.
but Penn State got the win, and then Notre Dame finally actually starts to seem like they're picking up a little bit of steam. The team that lost to Northern Illinois is
That's
in the
crazy.
conference football playoff semifinals.
That's nuts, dude. That's nuts.
What so we got the matchups: Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas. Who are you wanting to win, and who are you thinking is going to win?
Well, is there a thing I can say where I hope Texas and Ohio State lose? Is that possible?
I
Because that would,
wish. I wish.
yeah, I think that'd be my dream. But um, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with who I think's gonna win because I'm all over Ohio State. I know the public is absolutely over them too, but I don't think this Texas team, Brock, is actually even that good. I know
Nope.
I said that at the beginning of the year, but then like, I mean, I think that was their first ranked win, right, against Arizona State. I guess
Yeah.
A&M, my bad.
Yeah. A&M, but
But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not really sold on Texas. Plus, I know they got a couple injuries they're dealing with too. So, and I know it's kind of a home game for them, but I'm
they're gonna
taking
have
Ohio
Bevo.
State. Yeah,
Bevo's gonna be there.
I don't care about Bevo, man.
They had to
I'm
make a big deal about that. I just wanted to
yeah,
mention it.
no. I think Ohio State rolls, and then what's the? Oh yeah,
Notre Dame, Penn
this next
State.
game's in its. I don't know, man. I don't
I
know
feel like
if I
there's two
had to
programs.
choose. Wait, what?
They're two programs that historically in the last couple decades lose the big
They
ones.
lose the big game. I know. Yeah, I'm kind of up in the. If I had to choose one, or who do I want to win? I I don't know either because I'm really not a Notre Dame guy, but I'm also
Come
I
on,
don't know.
touchdown Jesus.
I still hate James Franklin, dude. I don't know if was
I'm
this
not
like
a
a
big
couple years
fan.
ago? Like I had a bet on West Virginia, and like I'm still petty over it, dude. Like they literally had it covered, and then James Franklin just runs up the score. So I'm still mad at him, but I I don't know. I'm gonna go with this. I'm a huge Riley Leonard fan. Like ever
I am
since that
too.
guy was at Duke, dude, I loved Riley Leonard. So I think he's a great guy, great human. So I'm probably gonna cheer for Notre Dame here. I also it's kind of funny. Yesterday at work, I was like calling like this insurance person or whatever, and it was hilarious. Bro. I'm not even kidding. Like for the first 15 minutes on our phone call, like we were just talking Notre Dame football, and like this was like a girl. Like not I'm not pulling out the sexist card or anything. Okay, just to get this out here. You're just not used to hearing that. Like she knew like more than me, dude. Like we were talking about like Brandon Aubrey and stuff, and like it was awesome, dude. So I think I'm gonna root for the Irish. I can't believe I'm saying that. So um, I
Hey,
don't know. I don't know who's gonna win though.
yeah, I get what you're at because, dude, you know my family's history with Ohio State,
Yeah, for sure.
and so I, it's hard. It's hard to choose. But I think I hate Texas more than any other university.
I
So,
hate him, dude. I hate him so much.
um, and so I'm hoping Ohio State wins, and I also think Ohio State's playing their best ball right now.
Mhm.
Will Howard is really having a good ending to a season. I know the Michigan game wasn't as good, but
Yep.
I and I'm not gonna lie, this is the first year I don't have an issue with Ohio State at all. Like I really don't have like
Yeah.
any like reason to hate them. So it's kind of weird for me to be like, I kind of hope that they do cover against Texas. I think the spread right now is around 6.
Yeah.
But then you get to the Penn State Notre Dame game. I feel like it'd be a sin if I took Penn State as a Catholic over Notre Dame. So I think I
Yeah.
got to go touchdown Jesus. I'm rooting for Notre Dame to win it all at this point.
Yeah.
I don't want Ohio State to win, even though I don't have an issue with them. There's still that
Mhm.
Ohio State team that I grew up hating. So
Yeah.
I'm going Notre Dame, and I hope Notre Dame wins the whole thing. I think if I remember right, yeah, I had Notre Dame versus Oregon in my college football championship when I filled out ESPN's little like bracket
Oh, yep.
predictor challenge or
Mhm.
whatever. I had Notre Dame versus Ohio State. So I'm pretty much getting the second version of that, which is Notre Dame versus no, I had Notre Dame versus Oregon. I'm getting the second version of that with Notre Dame Ohio State in the college football playoff championship.
Mhm.
Um, last thing, I guess, do you want to talk about the ending of the greatest era of Colorado football history, or do you want to move on to college basketball?
I think that one's up to you, buddy.
I, I'll just hit on it. I didn't get to see the game because I was at a family event, but I tell you what, I watched the entire game the next day, and I enjoyed
Every
every
second of it.
single minute, especially when the BYU player that hit the Deion Sanders primetime
I didn't
celebration.
see
I don't know
that.
if you saw that. That was
I
great.
didn't see that.
Or Shiloh doing a celebration after a pass interference or holding call, whatever it was that
Yeah.
prevented the INT from holding up.
Yeah.
That
It's
was
beautiful.
that was
I know.
tears of joy, man.
Yeah, Tom, because Tom's like the biggest Colorado hater. You guys would be best buds, but yeah, he was telling me that like I guess they didn't even have like a ranked win all year.
Yeah,
I had no idea. Like,
frauds.
yeah, I had no idea. If you just go on like social media, you would never know that. So
The People's Big 12 championship game.
yeah, it was a bad Big 12 championship game. Now I can't really talk, but
It was
yes,
just as bad as
as
the real one.
yeah. So, but
Um, but I just wanted to hit on that a little bit. Let's get into
yeah,
a little bit of college hoops
yes,
here.
sir.
I know you wanted to hit on it. Obviously, Iowa State today has a big time game wearing the little throwback hoodie. You're
I
wearing
like
the traditional Cardinal and gold now. Iowa State has a big game against Baylor. Conference season is really tipping off in the last week and a half. I know some conferences like the Big Ten, they do that like weird week where it's like conference week, and then also the next week you're playing non-con games. But really now and until the end of the season is the prime time schedule for college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts going into it? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about a team in the Big 12 that had a major loss in their home court. But
Yeah.
what teams have been standing out to you so far in the early stages of the conference season?
Are you talking like Big 12 or just in general
Just
or
overall.
overall? Yeah, Obviously, yeah. Maybe I'll talk about it first. I didn't even know the game was going on at the moment, so it made me mad. But yeah, West Virginia, without their best two players, goes into Lawrence and beats Kansas. What are you? Yeah, I still can't get over that has happened. So, Darren Vrees, shout out Drake Legend. Would like to give him some credit there. That's a heck of a win, dude. I think that was their first conference. Yeah, that was their first conference game too. So um, I know that makes Brock and I smile a lot. Seeing Kansas lose at home, so I would like to mention that. But yeah, some other teams. I guess I haven't really been paying attention to like the Big Ten because I know the Big Ten does some of that. So I don't. I think it's still pretty early in the season, so I don't know if like anyone's like impressed me. I would say. But I know I was impressed last night from the Wisconsin Iowa game.
Holy, what a game! What a
Yeah,
like
I
I
didn't even
didn't
watch it. I just saw the score. I was like, oh,
I I watched the second half and man, that game was hard to watch.
yeah. I might
Man.
pull up the box score right now because
So for those that don't know, Wisconsin just got their first conference win of the season, 1-3 now, with a win over Iowa, 116-85, second most points scored in Wisconsin Badger history.
that's nuts.
Broke the record for most threes in a single game with in program history with I think 21 threes
Yeah, they
as a
shot,
team.
yeah, 21 out of 31, 67% from three.
And so, man, here's my 2 cents on Iowa. If they make the tournament, I do think that they could be like, because they're streaky. They're really streaky. They
Mhm.
just have to outscore their opponents. That's
Yep.
that's that's pretty much it. Um, and so if they're like they get a play-in game or a low seed and they catch fire for like a couple games in a row, they could be like that team that you're like, how did this team make the Sweet 16 or something like that? I'm not saying Iowa talent-wise is good enough to make the Sweet 16, but they're streaky enough to have like that little streak of 3 games, 2 or 3 games to make the second weekend, which would be hilarious because this is one of the worst Fran McCaffrey teams if this would be the team to make the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
But what I'm saying is like you see it with those the mid majors all the time where they just catch fire and
Mhm.
they got guys that they can do it. But the problem is their defense is so bad that I don't know if they
Yeah,
can do it.
yeah, that's gonna be the problem, dude. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes like you see in March, man, like those teams just get hot from three, and like it's just tough to guard. So you never know. It's not looking great though for them. I'll say that. But yeah, I just saw that score and was like, oh my gosh, we need to talk about that. So
Yeah, and you look at it. Today is a great day. This is probably the
mhm.
best day for like the introduction to college basketball. Not college basketball, the conference season of college basketball.
Yep.
We got Kentucky, Florida playing as we're live here. 60-55, Kentucky's winning. I think. I think you got the TV on in the corner when you're
Yeah,
watching that.
yes, I did. I've been glancing up every couple minutes. Yeah,
Um,
it's been a fun game to watch.
Ole Miss, Georgia just tipped off a couple minutes ago. Arkansas, Tennessee. By the way, Tennessee should have lost to Illinois. I know that was a couple weeks ago, but
No, yeah. Well, I was actually
brutal.
just going to talk about Illinois real quick here too. I watched a little bit of their game versus Oregon the other night, and I know it's obviously one game, so I'm not going to overreact. But yeah, they Illinois actually. I know we might talk about like conference winners and stuff, but I might take them to win the Big Ten. I don't know if that's like a hot take or not, but I've been very impressed with like their guard play. I'm not gonna lie, Brock. I don't know if I can pronounce a single guy on their team. They're like all foreign guys, but they're fun to watch, man. They're really good. They got a solid. It's Big Z's brother from Arkansas. I don't know how to say the last name, but do you know who I'm talking about though?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
I,
So
I'm not familiar with their roster. I've just watched a couple of games.
yeah, he's really solid. And yeah, they got great guard play. They got the freshman. See, I can't pronounce his name. Kasparis Jakunis, something like that. You know who I'm talking about.
Yep,
Been
it's like
very impressed with him.
Ingesitis.
Yes, Noyes. Yes, thank you. So yeah, I don't know, man. I might take them to win the Big Ten, to be honest. Not just because of what they did to Oregon, but I mean, like you said, Brack. I mean, they almost beat Tennessee at home, and probably should have if that Casper, you know, what I'm talking about. If he
Yep.
makes both his free throws, so
The Big Ten is one of those leagues where coaching matters in every league, but like some
Mhm.
leagues talent sometimes outweighs coaching, and I feel like the Big Ten with um how they play coaching matters so much. I mean, there's a reason Michigan State still finds a way to make it to the tournament. It seems like every year, even though it's like, oh, this is the roster that Tom Izzo can't turn around or something
Yeah.
like that. Brad Underwood, as much as he kind of annoys me sometimes watching him, he's a really good coach, and so I feel like he can lead that Illinois team. And I mean,
Mhm.
Illinois made the Sweet 16, had a good game against Iowa State in the round of 32 last year. Of course, it led to that 32-0 run from UConn in the next round. So I feel like
Yeah.
winning that game actually was a punishment because then you had to
Yeah.
play UConn the next game.
Have fun.
But Brad Underwood is really good, man. I think he's probably one of the slept-on coaches of the college basketball world because he's able to turn around a roster even though he loses guys every year.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really solid. Obviously, yeah, I'm still sad about last year, but also glad at the same time we didn't get our beats or our breaks beat off us by UConn. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Brad Underwood, I think he's a phenomenal coach. Not a lot of people talk about him enough, in my opinion. Obviously, Purdue gets a lot of love. Purdue's still a great team this year, but I don't know, man. I like what I'm seeing from Illinois. I also I'm a huge Mick Cronin guy. I think you probably already knew that. So I've been impressed with what UCLA has done. I think the addition of Kobe Johnson it's kind of funny because he transferred from USC. So I don't really know how they feel about that out in LA. I think the addition of him is like huge for this UCLA team. I think they could maybe be sneaky as well. I know they kind of had a like last second upset win at Oregon here, but yeah, I think they're kind of a sneaky team too to watch out for in the Big Ten.
Yeah, the fact that we're talking UCLA in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I know. It is weird, really weird.
By the way, if you're talking about the transfer that went from USC to UCLA, if fans care that much, there's not really fans in UCLA or USC. It seems like, at least from the college football world. I don't know. I haven't watched much UCLA or USC basketball this year, but it seems like they don't have a fan bases because pro teams are in those areas.
Yeah, I'm on like LA Twitter, obviously, and yeah, they mostly just care about football. So, and UCLA has like no fans. So,
Yeah, and they're playing Nebraska today, which Nebraska is favored. And so I
yeah,
think it's like a 2.5 favorite for Nebraska, who's
mhm.
unranked, but they are 11-2 in the season. Fred Hoiberg's got this team playing good basketball, which talking about Nebraska playing good basketball is still foreign to me, but
So what? Yeah,
that should be a good game.
mhm.
Just another great conference game on this lineup. We got other games: Oklahoma, Alabama. Alabama's favored by 12.5, which is interesting because it's 5 versus 12.
I
If that
know.
covers, Alabama could really establish themselves as a threat. Obviously, being a top 5 team, they're a threat already, but they can
Yeah,
really establish themselves as that premier program in the SEC.
yeah, I'm with you, Brock. I think, well, obviously, yeah, first off, that is a crazy line. Part of me just wants to bet Alabama now because what in the world is that? But I don't know. I think like a lot of people, obviously, Auburn deserves a lot of respect. I think in my opinion, I think they're the best team in the country. I think maybe a lot of other people would agree, but I don't think you can count out like this Alabama team yet. I know they went and got that Cliff Amore guy from Rutgers. I know they kind of had a little bit of a scare. I don't know if you saw that game where they played at North Dakota and like literally almost lost. Did you end up
Yep,
seeing? Yeah,
I saw the score. I
that
didn't see
was
any of the
credit
highlights.
to Nate Oates though for scheduling that game. I know they did it for Grant Nelson, but because he's originally from there. But I don't know. I respect the heck out of that. Them going up to North Dakota playing that game. So I don't know. I would not count out Alabama yet. I know they did lose. I think it was Latrell. What's his last name?
Let me look
He-
here.
I'm gonna draw a blank. I know they lost one of their solid players.
Latrell right cell.
Yes, thank you. Yep, yep. So that's kind of a stain for them, but I still think you can't count them out yet. But yeah, and it's kind of been surprising. Oklahoma's 13-0 too. I know they haven't really played any like great teams yet, but that
Unranked in the preseason, and now they're number 12.
yeah, that Fears freshman that they got, he's phenomenal. He's fun to watch. So I don't know. And I've always been a Porter Mosier guy, and I like Clayton Custer on their staff.
I can't I can't
Oh,
stand any of the coaches at Oklahoma, dude.
oh, Brock does not like Clayton Custer. Okay,
No. Um,
Iowa State legend. Okay, Brock.
sorry.
It's all right.
Loyola brought so much pain to me growing up.
Oh, that's fair. Well, I guess I wasn't a UNI fan, so I'm sorry, dude.
Hey, you and I had their 3-0 start the conference play, and God knows how long. I think first time ever under Ben Jacobson, which is like really because Ben
Wait,
Jacobson's
how?
like
That makes no sense.
I, yeah, I saw it on Facebook and I was like, Ben Jacobson's never started
You
3-0
are
in
three
conference play.
now. Weird.
Um,
Huh.
real quick, I wanted to ask you, and we talked about this before the before we started live streaming. What in the heck has happened to Arizona this year? And I know you probably know a lot more than I do.
Oh, I'll tell you right now. Yeah.
Preseason top 10, now
Mhm.
7-5, and they have not played good basketball really at all. Have they even beaten a relevant team? They have. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at their schedule.
They're
Some
bad. They're really bad.
okay, TCU is their biggest win.
Mhm.
The rest are mid majors, and some of them are like mid majors that haven't heard of in a long time. Congrats on the win against Samford.
Sanford, dude. Yeah. Buckyball. Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, dude, watch out for Furman this year, dude. Furman is back. I might be
Vince.
wearing my Furman shirt here, before too long. I'm just gonna get that out there. PJ Smith is a dog. Anywho, shoot. Oh, and I lost track. We're talking about, oh, Arizona, yes. I'll tell you what's wrong with them, Brock. There's a guy on that team named Caleb Love. Absolute fraudster. I'll tell you that. Now I do kind of feel bad. I don't really know the whole situation of why he left. I think it was something with him and oh my gosh. I just lost his name. How do you forget this name, Chase? This is embarrassing. UNC's point guard. What in the world?
Oh shoot,
This is so embarrassing. I literally just watched their game the other night.
I don't remember who. I'm trying to. I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, RJ Davis.
Oh,
Holy cow, that was really
good one.
embarrassing. And yeah, I don't know the whole situation that happened there. With like a girl involved, so I won't speak onto that. But yeah, I will just say that I don't know. I think Caleb Love is not aware of his surroundings and just thinks that he's like Steph Curry and can just take whatever shot that he wants. I think you're starting to see, I don't know, some team chemistry issues maybe with his teammates right now. I think you're starting to see guys get annoyed playing with him. And like I said, I mean, they have a good team, man. Like there's good guys around him, but I think it's all comes back to Caleb Love because he thinks he's Steph Curry and can just do whatever he wants out there. So that's what I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, they have not had a good start. You know, you mentioned North Carolina; they have not had a good start either. 8-6. They were also, I think, in the top. They were right above Arizona at number 9 heading into the season. So, what are your thoughts on North Carolina? Do you think they can turn around?
Yeah.
It seems like North Carolina always finds a way to turn it around, though.
I don't know, dude. I'm kind of out on them this year. I think their guard play is pretty dang good. I'll say that. However, their posts are god awful, dude. It's really hard to watch their post play. I know obviously losing Baycott, like that's a big replacement, but it's hard to watch they're not skilled at all. Like they're obviously like tall and athletic, and that's why they're probably like 5 stars that have come out of high school and stuff. But like they're just, I don't know. I'm not impressed with them at all. I think that's what's kind of holding them back too. So obviously you can have as good as guard play as you want, but they'll only take you so far. So yeah, I think that I don't think they're gonna make the tournament, Brock. I'm just gonna go out and say that.
Yeah, it's always great, honestly, when a blue blood doesn't make it, because then it leads to another team that probably doesn't get as much of a spotlight, the opportunity to shine in the
Mhm.
postseason. But I'm not gonna lie, the probably the team that I've watched the most outside of Iowa State is Memphis, and I actually
Memphis.
really enjoy Memphis. I,
Yeah.
I think that they are a team that could set themselves up for a really good run in the postseason and in
Mhm.
March. By the way, I think we mentioned this on the podcast before. Tyrese Hunter getting out of Texas was probably the greatest thing that ever happened to his career. He's
Yep.
averaging 15 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal and a half for the Tigers. And he's been a huge asset, has had some huge plays in some big games for the Tigers this year. Obviously, PJ Haggerty is also a great player for them that's almost averaging 22 points a game.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
stud.
and Dane Danger has also been a great player for them.
Mhm.
I know the Tigers get some flack for Penny Hardaway, and you know, I think he's had some cheating allegations with basketball. James Wiseman was a player that I don't know if was ever eligible. I can't even remember. Did he ever end up playing for Memphis? I think he started the season. I don't know
think
if he
so. Then
finished.
yeah, that was a weird deal.
And so like already that was I think Penny's first season, so already was labeled like you get that cheating label once and it sticks
Yeah.
with you forever.
Yep.
But I really do think that they have an opportunity to be really special this year and have a deep run into the postseason play. It will just be, can they get over the hump of winning those really close games against some tight and really good competitive teams? I mean, they have a 2-point win against UConn, but I feel like you can put an asterisk on that because Hurley was a big reason why Memphis ended up winning that game.
Yeah, homie loss is cool.
Got killed by Auburn. They do have a bad loss against Arkansas State. Close competitive loss against Mississippi State, but they do have a win against Ole Miss, Clemson, and UConn. Again, UConn is a shaky game because, again, we all know why, or a big reason why they ended up winning that game. But I really like Memphis. I'm going to watch a lot more of Memphis throughout this year.
They're good.
I don't know about you, and I think maybe we both said this last time, but I am a really big fan of Tyrese Haliburton. I am a big fan of Tyrese Haliburton. Shout out him for being the first NBA player in history to have multiple games with 30+ points and 15+ assists. That dude is a baller. I'm a big fan of Tyrese Hunter.
Hunter Rose, where are you at right now?
Where are you at? We'll mention that next week on the Convo spot. But I'm happy that he was able to get out of there. I know why he left. I still don't blame him for leaving Iowa State.
It's like, why'd you go to Texas though, bro? Really?
That was the thing. I'm happy that he's in a better place. It seems like now he's playing good basketball. And hey, maybe he can make a couple moments for them in March and lead them to a good run at least. I think they're ranked 21 right now, 11-3, first in the American Conference. Of course, early in the conference season. You want to know what maturing is and growing up is for an Iowa State fan?
What?
It's realizing that Bill Self is actually a really good coach and you can't hate him that much. And
there you go.
The Kansas team that you should be hating more is Kansas State.
Yes, that is maturing, Brock. There you go. I'm so proud of you, dude.
I really don't hate Kansas as much as I used to growing up. But Kansas State, I cannot stand that school.
Oh no, either can I. I'm excited, dude. I think I was like looking at because I'm trying to figure out like which days I need off for like work and stuff.
Yep.
And, like it's the beginning of next month. We got K-State at home, so I'm already
February 1st.
Yep. I'm ready for it, dude.
Get your cameras out.
Seriously,
get your cameras out, man.
I don't know. They're just so unlikable, dude. Just like literally every single part of like that program. It's the team, the coach, the fans, just everybody, dude. Like Kansas fans, like I don't know. Like I feel like for the most part, most of them are good, and like they're very knowledgeable. My thing is too is they're very knowledgeable about basketball from like my experiences. It's like,
well, yeah, they have years of football sucking, so they had to learn something else.
So they have to learn. Yes, yeah, they're very knowledgeable. Like I love talking ball with Kansas fans. But like Kansas State fan, they just, oh my gosh, dude, they're stupid, man. They really are. Which, granted, I'm probably dumb at times too. I'll admit it. But like, oh my gosh, it drives me insane. They got an annoying coach too, who just makes up false allegations. Doesn't help that they have paid Coleman Hawkins $2 million. I know he had a good game against Cincy, so I'll give him that. But holy cow.
The Iowa State game, it's at 1, which sucks. I wish it was a night game, but the crowd is going to be so loud for that. It's going to be like Iowa State, Kansas.
It literally might be.
In Hilton.
Yeah. Well, I know, and I'm kind of mad that we got Kansas like on a Wednesday and no students. I think it'll still be a lit game, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if like this Kansas State game is like one of the most electric atmospheres.
I know that. I think Iowa State Athletics is trying to do something to incentivize students to take their tickets or buy tickets for the Kansas game. I can't remember what the thing is. Someone in my family was talking about it, but there's something that would be something to incentivize buying tickets for the Kansas game, even though students are back, which is great because we need fans for that game. The Kansas State game, though, is the one that I've honestly been looking forward to for the most part because, again, everybody – it literally, like, it seems like within a calendar year, it has switched from everybody hating Kansas more than Kansas State to everybody hating Kansas State more than Kansas. And again, I really don't hate Kansas. I do think that they're not as good as maybe people expected heading into this year.
Yeah,
Obviously, with that loss against West Virginia at home without Tucker DeVries, um,
that's crazy still.
that's still, blows my mind that that happened. But we'll see if they're going to be able to bounce back. They have a game against UCF tomorrow at 3 at UCF, which, I mean, if there's one thing I hate being that team that plays Kansas after a loss at home.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, you know they're gonna come out ready.
Yeah, your Hunter Dickinson's gonna have like 50 tomorrow, guarantee it.
He literally might. That's tomorrow though.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
3 o'clock.
Huh.
Let me see what channel it's on.
That's just I'm
ESPN
never
Plus.
used to seeing the Big 12 playing on Sunday.
I know it's weird.
All right.
But Kansas is a team that I don't think is as good. But again, they're experienced, so they could have a good run in the tournament, though, as we get,
Mhm.
because there's no reason to believe that they're not going to make it unless they completely fall on their face, which, again, as much as I just said that I don't hate them as much, I'm not against Kansas absolutely falling on their face this year and like being below
Yeah.
500 in conference play.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about college basketball is Larinaga retiring
Yeah.
from the University of Miami,
I know.
basically citing the new landscape of college basketball and NIL. What are your thoughts on him retiring? I'm not shocked it happened. The thing that upset me was when it happened.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. Because yeah, we could probably talk a little bit about this because like it's just kind of weird that like you did it in the middle of the season. Especially after how bad his team's been this year. Like Miami is god awful, dude. I've watched a few of their games and they are atrocious. But yeah, I don't know. I heard a little bit of the story and it was kind of like I don't know. I felt bad for the guy. I know he beat us, so I was kind of mad at him. But like I felt bad after they made like that Final Four, and then I heard like more than half the team was wanting to transfer. It's just like I don't know, dude. It just kind of sucks that like that's kind of how like, college sports is nowadays. And I know like that's the reason why Jay Wright and Tony Bennett got out of there as well. And hopefully, by the way, we see Jay Wright today. I don't know if he's calling the game or not, but
Mm-hmm.
dude, favorite coach of all time. I love Jay Wright. So, anywho, though, it's just kind of sad that like that's kind of what happened in that situation for him. And I know he's getting old too, but it's just like I don't know. That's where I give a lot of credit to and sorry, I'm just talking about Iowa State a lot, but like TJ Osborne just be able to like bring in guys, man, build a good culture and stuff. And I know that's kind of hard to do at Miami, but I don't know. It's just kind of sad. I feel bad for the guy. So
I agree. It's just, it sucks that he had to do it now.
yeah,
But it's whatever. I did look it up. It's first 3-0 start for Northern Iowa since 2009-2010. So they have done one under Ben Jacobson. The other stat that I saw was first coach in Missouri Valley Conference history to have a head coach 600 career games. So shout out Ben Jacobson for being there for so long at
that
Northern
is
Iowa.
actually a crazy stat. Wow.
But back to Miami, I think a big reason that that they've struggled maybe with this NIL era is that Miami's a football school and they
Yeah.
claim to only be a football school and they only care about football.
Yeah.
So all the money goes there. So
Yeah.
try
That's
competing
tough.
with other schools that have, say, like even in Iowa State. Iowa State doesn't have nearly as much money as Miami, but like
Not even close.
they're able to share the sugar a little bit more with other sports, or they're more
Mhm.
willing to compared to other schools because we do care about all of our sports at
Yeah.
Iowa State. Wrestling is huge.
Mhm.
Both men's and women's basketball, football, all. I'm pretty sure even there's some. I think they've been trying to support volleyball with NIL. I don't know how that works or if that's as possible as other schools because again, Iowa State is very small in terms of NIL contributions compared to the bigger schools like Oklahoma, Texas,
Yeah.
even Miami, obviously. But when you have a school that's like, oh no, we're a football school, then you're screwed if you're the coach for that basketball team.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And like credit to like Alabama too and what Nate Oates has done there because I knew Nate Oates was a solid coach at Buffalo, but like holy cow, what he's done to Alabama for being a football school is really impressive. Same with like a lot of these other SEC schools as well. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like Miami's just a tough spot to coach at, man. There's so many distractions down there too. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I feel for the guy. But I don't know, man. It's just college sports nowadays. Guys are just looking to get as much money as possible. And yeah, if I don't know, that's why it's just so nice, like having TJ and like Matt, just having guys who buy into a culture and just
Mhm.
it's tough because yeah, like Matt said in his post game interview, man, it's tough to. There's not a lot of schools out there who can really like retain guys and build a solid culture like that. So
Yeah.
I feel for Larinaga there. So
Yeah. Is there any other teams or storylines in the basketball world that you wanted to hit on?
there definitely probably is. Drake lost at first game, dude. Kind of sad.
Yep,
Um,
not tied for the first place in the Missouri Valley. It's unfortunate.
is yeah, unfortunate. You and I is ahead of him now.
Tied
Not
with
enough
Bradley, man.
no, yeah. There definitely is. Let me 1 second, Brock. I should have came more prepared. Oh man. Or maybe I had everything. Maybe I got my Furman talk in.
I mean, I can hit on the Valley a little bit while you're working on this. I do think right now
Yeah, let's talk some Valley actually.
Bradley is still my favorite to win the conference. Their combination of Dean and Montgomery
Uh-huh.
is just a great combo. Both of them are averaging almost 15 points. Duke Dean's a little bit over 15, and Montgomery's a little bit under. And then they just overall have played really good basketball. I mean, they've had some close
Uh-huh.
games in the start of conference season, 2 straight overtime games to start their conference season, a double overtime
I
win
know.
against Valpo and an overtime game against Indiana State. But they do have that loss against Santa Clara, 84-74, and Washington State, 91-74. So if they only score 74 points, there's a good chance that they're going to lose because their 2 losses, both they only score 74. But I really do like this team. Northern Iowa, you look at their stats, and it's kind of weird because you're like, this team is undefeated in the Valley. Granted, they're 9-5 overall, so the schedule, I mean, their record doesn't look as good because they have losses against North Texas, the Bonnies, and St. Bonaventure. Uh,
Yep.
Loss against an old Missouri Valley rival in Wichita State, and then they also have a loss against UC Irvine and Washington State. But you look at their stats, and they kind of spread the ball out a little more. Titan Anderson's leading the way in almost 14 points a game, 6 rebounds, a couple assists. And then, you got Jacob Hudson, Leon Bond, Trey Campbell, all averaging double-digit points. And then Ben Schweiger is a little bit under 10 points at 9.7 points per game. But they're all shooting really good from the field. And, I mean, who is it? Trey Campbell shooting about 45% from the 3-point line this season, which I feel like is a good clip for a Missouri Valley player.
Uh-huh.
So while the stats may not look as good in terms of having a star player that can lead them over the top, I think that they have a good overall team that could get them far in this Missouri Valley. Obviously, it's a 1-bid league this year, and it's shown. It's already proven that this is going to be a 1-big Missouri Valley League
Yeah.
team. So getting the best seed possible and the easiest route to the Missouri Valley Conference Championship game is going to be vital for all these teams. In Northern Iowa and Bradley have obviously the better start, both 3-0 in conference play. But that's where I'm at right now with the Valley. Don't sleep, though. Again, just because Drake lost 1 game
Yeah.
doesn't mean the end of the world. They're still 12-1, and they still have really good, impressive wins against Kansas State and Miami. So to Vanderbilt, so they got a couple of good quad 1 wins on their resume. But I
Yep.
just wanted to touch on a little bit with the Valley.
Thank you,
Drake's
Brock.
still in it, but
Mhm.
I still think that Bradley's the team to beat, and
Yeah.
don't sleep on Northern Iowa being 3-0 in conference play.
Thank you, Brock. I did see and I've watched Bradley I think twice. But I've heard they're a really good 3-point shooting team as well. So I don't know. I feel like I want to start watching more Bradley games. I feel like there's probably a fun team to watch, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll add that as well. But Yeah, I like that. And then I remember what I was gonna ask you, Brad. Did you see that Steve Alford post game interview where he was like saying like we don't even like have a band and stuff, and was like,
No,
did you end up seeing like any of that?
no, I gotta look this up.
Yeah. So it was so fun. I think it was be also their game last night was crazy too. I don't know if you saw any of that, but the game before, like I think they got beat or whatever, and like Steve Alford was just going about how like they like blah blah blah, and then like said like they don't even have like a band for like a D1 school. So then I guess like people were making a bunch of comments on it. It's like, dude, you're not losing games because you don't have like a band. But then anywho, like last night they lose off of a crazy shot in overtime against like at New Mexico in the pit. And yeah, it was I wasn't sure if you saw any of that though, but it was hilarious.
I'm trying to look it up right now.
Yeah, I probably should have. My bad. I didn't even think of to bring that up before. I could have maybe had the clip ready, but
That's crazy that he said that.
yeah, I know. It's like maybe coach your team better, buddy.
Yeah, I see
We're worried
tweets.
about
I see tweets. I don't see any
video
videos. I
game.
see tweets of saying Steve Alford complaining about the band not being there. Give me a break.
Yeah, I know. If I find that, I'll send it to you afterwards. But yeah,
That's great.
I know it was crazy. And then I don't know if you or yeah, look up like the game last night. Look up, I want you to watch this game winner.
For
The New Mexico versus Nevada game. I guarantee it's probably all over Twitter.
okay, let me
The
look
game
it
probably
up here.
ended at like 1:00 in the morning.
1:00 in the morning. Jeez. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, I want your live reaction.
Here, let's share my screen. We'll see
Oh
if
yeah, here we go. Yeah,
FS1 takes us down.
yeah. Oops, sorry. Copyright.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to watch this.
An extra life here. 6 seconds. Here's Dent spinning. Falls.
What is going on? No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
There's no way.
Just chaos. I thought he was about to pull a Jamal Tinsley there and just dribble like while he's on the floor. But yeah, I wanted you to see that. That was nuts.
That's crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Um.
So, anywho,
Well, anything else you want to hit on?
I don't think so, man. Just hope everyone enjoys a great slate of college hoops today. And I hope to see Jay Wright today in Hilton. I don't know if he's there or not, but I hope to see him. So should be a fun.
So it is on CBS.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I want to give a shout out to our former co-host Max. He's tuning in. He has the game on. He has the stream on the TV in their practice facility down at Pittsburgh State. Good game against Northeastern State today. Go Gorillas, man. Go Gorillas. Also, just because I think he'll get a kick out of this. It definitely is Tiffy time. If you know, you know. But Chase, any final words before we sign off?
Nope, I got nothing. Should be a good day though.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. It's going to be a great stint of college basketball. I can't wait to really get like more into the season, because now that the college football playoff is starting to wrap up and they're outside of Notre Dame, their games I don't necessarily care about as much.
Yeah.
So I'm all in on college basketball now.
There you go.
So for Chase Winterbore, I'm Brock Bierman. We'll be back next week with at least a Hardwood Combos podcast. We might be back with another 515 Sports podcast as well. Make sure to tune into all of our podcasts. Leave a review, like, subscribe, share, whatever you need to do. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.